Step into a world of courtroom drama and raw emotions as we explore 5 jaw-dropping confrontations that unfolded during some of the most intense legal proceedings. From enraged fathers seeking justice for their children to unexpected assaults on accused individuals, these shocking moments reveal the deep impact of tragic events on the lives of those involved. Number 5. Dramatic confrontation in case of fatal shooting of 9-month-old. During a heated court session, an 18-year-old man who fatally shot a 9-month-old baby in Merced, California, found himself in a vicious situation when he was struck by another inmate. An individual who had his hands restrained stood up and punched the accused murderer, Davon Motschwain, at least twice before guards intervened. At that precise moment, Motschwain was waiting for the official charges to be brought against him, including first-degree murder and other offenses tied to the shooting that resulted in the tragic death of infant Darius King Grigsby on November 9th. "He deserves every little bit that comes to him," said Darius's aunt Elena Perez, expressing her sentiments about the situation. Following the altercation, the courtroom was emptied. The scheduled arraignment for Motschwain has been postponed and was set to occur on December 8th. Darius was being pushed in a stroller by his mother and her companion when Motschwain allegedly fired shots from a Chevy Trailblazer. Law enforcement speculates that Motschwain's intended target was the man accompanying Darius and his mother.
It was apparent to us that the intended target was the male companion that was walking with baby Darius and the mother.
Number 4. Father's outburst at daughter's killers. Things got extremely chaotic in a United States courtroom where a father let out his fury towards his daughter's killers by hitting him hard in the head. The whole thing unfolded while the court was deciding the punishment for Jasmine Gordon, the 3-year-old girl's mother, and her boyfriend Clifford Thomas. They were both found guilty for the sad death of Gordon's 3-year-old daughter, Jamila Smith. Just as Dwayne Smith, the grieving father, was getting ready to talk about how much Jamila's death had impacted him, he suddenly saw Thomas and just went for it, giving him a punch to the head. The quick move got the attention of officers from the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, who jumped in fast to keep the two apart. With both of these defendants in the picture, the courtroom turned into a real loud mess with people shouting and making a scene as this crazy incident unfolded. In the middle of all this chaos, a video caught Jasmine Gordon showing how emotionally shaken she was. The sad passing of Jamila Smith happened back in September of the year before, and it was because of some really bad injuries from a hard hit. Her death was officially said to be a murder. Just a bit ago, Jasmine Gordon and Clifford Thomas were both found guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
I want to paint the picture of the nightmare that this child lived while she was in the care of these two defendants.
After Dwayne Smith's big outburst, he wasn't allowed back into the courtroom, but lucky for him, he didn't have to deal with any legal stuff, as a spokesperson from the Wayne County Sheriff's Office said. The judge decided not to hold Dwayne Smith in contempt of court, so he walked away without getting in trouble. In the aftermath of the trial, Clifford Thomas decided not to bring any charges against Smith. As for the outcome of the trial, Gordon was given a sentence of 7 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter, and she was also handed an extra 14 to 25 years for first-degree child abuse, under the classification of being an aider and abetter. These sentences will be served at the same time. On the flip side, Thomas was given a sentence of about 6 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter, along with 1 to 2 years for resisting and obstructing a police officer. Number 3. Man sentenced for killing baby son faces assault after court. After being sentenced to 25 years in prison for his crime, a man who admitted to killing his own baby son faced an assault as he left the courtroom. Quinn Bowes, a 23-year-old from Patoka, Indiana, was taken into custody in May 2018, following the death of his 11-month-old son Parker, who suffered a fatal head injury. Initially, Bowes claimed he was asleep when the head injury happened and only realized it later. He said that the baby somehow slipped out of his nursing pillow and fell to the floor, leading to the tragic incident. However, medical experts found that the nature of the child's head injury didn't match an accidental fall, contradicting Bose's initial statements. Eventually, Bose pleaded guilty to a level 2 felony charge of domestic battery resulting in death, which marked the conclusion of the case. The defense stressed that Bose had taken full responsibility for his actions, hoping to bring some sense of closure to the grieving family. Chief Deputy Prosecutor Abigail Brown Cox acknowledged the challenge of handling a case involving the death of an infant. She recognized its profound impact on those involved, even though she couldn't fully grasp the family's experience without having lived through it herself. She understood their need to find ways to cope. Bose could have faced up to 30 years in prison, but he ultimately got a sentence of 19 years behind bars, plus an additional 6 years on work release. He was also instructed to cover the costs of his son's funeral. Brown Cox expressed satisfaction with the result, stating that the prosecution saw it as a positive outcome for all parties involved. Number 2. Father's fury. In the midst of the ongoing legal proceedings, a saddened father named Antonio Hughes sat at the rear of the courtroom in Hamilton County. Overwhelmed by intense and turbulent emotions, he lost control and suddenly lunged toward the defense table, targeting Deshaun Brown, the accused individual in this distressing case. Without any advance warning or hesitation, Hughes let loose a series of forceful punches, directly hitting Brown. The suddenness and the impact of this unexpected attack left spectators stunned, seemingly ignoring the presence of officers nearby. Hughes continued to deliver unrelenting blows, prompting swift responses from the sheriff deputies. They acted promptly, rushing to the scene to subdue the agitated father and restore order. They tackled Hughes forcefully, bringing him down to the ground and momentarily quelling the chaos. Another video recorded a surprising twist even after Hughes had been handcuffed and was encircled by 3 deputies. Not discouraged in his pursuit of the alleged perpetrator, Hughes suddenly lunged toward him once more. The video showcased the necessity for 4 officers to firmly subdue Hughes again, bringing him down to the floor in a strenuous effort to regain control and ensure everyone's safety. It's been reported that Hughes faced a contempt of court charge due to his actions, resulting in a 7-day jail sentence. The accused individual, Deshaun Brown, faces a serious charge related to a brutal crime involving the stabbing of Lattimore, which happened in December 2020, as detailed in the Cincinnati Enquirer. Investigators uncovered that Brown had carefully plotted the murder over the course of several months following the heinous act. It's alleged that he waited several days before placing 3-year-old Nilo Lattimore's lifeless body into a bag and seeking the assistance of an Uber driver to transport it to the Ohio River. Deceptively, Brown informed the driver that the bag contained nothing more than clothing. Number 1. Confrontation with smiling serial killer in courtroom. During the hearing to decide the punishment for Michael Madison, the East Cleveland serial killer who tortured and killed a girl named Sherelda Terry, Van Terry, a grieving father, took the stand to speak directly to the man who had brought immeasurable pain on his family. As Terry shared his profound anguish, he turned his gaze towards Madison, hoping for some recognition of the immense loss they had suffered. However, to their astonishment, Madison responded with a grin on his face. Driven by anger and heartache, Terry couldn't contain his emotions and impulsively lunged across the room, aiming his pain at the man responsible for taking his daughter's life. Sherelda's aunt, Sonia Richardson, mentioned that her brother's reaction came from a place of deep sorrow, conveying the unfathomable void left by the loss of his beloved child, a treasured part of his world. In stark contrast, Madison displayed a heartless smile. The contrast in their emotions was almost unbearable, leaving Terry and his family with a feeling that they had had enough. After the discovery of the disfigured bodies of Sherelda Terry, Chishita Steele, and Angela Deskin near Michael Madison's residence in 2013, he was given the ultimate punishment of death. The gruesome crimes committed against these 3 women led to the harshest consequences. It's important to note that Madison had previously been classified as a sex offender in 2002 due to his conviction for attempted rape. Even though the defense argued that Michael Madison's actions were influenced by his abusive and tumultuous upbringing, the judge, Nancy McDonald, remained unconvinced, despite her long tenure on the bench spanning over 2 decades and never having issued a death sentence before. Judge McDonald expressed her profound shock at the extreme cruelty displayed by one individual towards not just one, but 3 innocent human beings.
Accordingly, the sentence of death is imposed upon the defendant Michael Madison on counts 1, 4, and 7.
The weight of the crimes committed had a lasting impact on the judge, ultimately leading to the decision to impose the death penalty.